cast aspersions on former guests, but you may be my most consummate professional to date.
Who's the second most?
Yeah, I'm not quite that, like, structurally organized.
Didn't you have Simon from New York Magazine on? Yeah.
Simon, consummate isn't the word that, like, comes to mind.
I've known him for a long time. We went to college together.
Oh! Where did you go to college? Brown.
Yeah.
And you're younger. You're just your age.
I'm 35.
It doesn't need to be relative to my age.
I'm 35, but you have to cut that out.
That I have to cut out? Okay.
I'm just kidding.
I know a lot of people who went to Brown.
Yeah?
It's like, it's the hoity-toity place to go.
It's hoity-toity.
It's the cool kid place to go.
It's a cool kid place to go. There's a lot of, like, children of celebrities.
Don't I know it? They're literally everywhere. Because you know who procreates these days? Rich people.
Rich people, yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, that's what's so perverted. Like, when did owning a house and, like, getting impregnated become a privilege? Do you know what I mean? It's crazy.
Also church going is much higher. If you have a graduate degree, you're more likely to go to church.
Which is like, but when did I heard that and I was like, can I see the evidence?
It's recent. I think it's recent. But I think it makes sense because it's the same thing with traditional monogamous marriage and blah blah blah. It's like it's a consequence of and productive of, like, social capital. So it's like if you are embedded in a community, then you're more likely to have various kinds of success. And if you're in a community where people are oriented towards these kinds of goals, then you're more likely to do them.
Okay.
I think church is in the same category as various other things that contribute to, like, economic and social success at this point. Like the idea that we have of, like, the typical Trump voter being like a churchgoer is not true. They might be a believer, but they probably don't go to church.
Because who has the time? I have to work on Sundays at Dollar General.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you know what I mean?
No, that is
so
what
how
it
could
is.
I go to church?
Yeah, or you have to take care of kids, or you're single. You're a single parent. You have to take care of kids. You can't.
Don't we know it over here? Yeah.
Yeah, on the Upper West Side.
No, I am I consider myself a part-time single parent.
Okay.
I'm not supposed to talk about that. Beep. Not talking about it. Okay. Let me just introduce the show.
Okay.
So, hi, I'm Francesca. This is Critical Babe Theory, and this is Sam Adler-Bell, contributing writer, journalist and contributing writer.
Yeah.
Did you see like the mental traction happening? Contributing writer at New York Mag and host of the podcast Know Your Enemy.
That's right.
And AKA consummate professional.
We'll see. The listeners can be the judge.
Do you like tennis?
No. Well, I like it.
You don't like play it?
No.
Yeah.
Why?
Why is everybody always playing? Because consummate and tennis really go together.
People love tennis.
That's
people love playing tennis.
Let me be clear. I feel like white people love tennis.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is true. Like, that doesn't mean it's
but
bad.
I get it. I would love to. I mean, I hate exercising, and if you do something competitive, then it's more fun.
I can't speak to that. I have no experience. I played soccer very seriously as a child and was devastatingly competitive.
And were you good, or were you competitive and not good? Because that was my problem.
Struck fear in the hearts of others.
Were you a bruiser?
We played a diamond defense soccer. We played a diamond defense.
So did we.
So I was striker. So I was
Stopper.
like, we call in California.
Oh, they call it striker. Because striker's the forward in where I came from.
Sweeper.
Sweeper
You're
is
gonna
the back.
come on my show
I tell you.
and make me look like an idiot.
We're supposed to be talking about feminism.
This is the problem. And that was the thing is, like, everybody's a joke at the end of the day.
Can I ask, were you the front of the diamond defense or the back?
So I was the front of the diamond defense. So I got to, like, I was like in charge of the defense, and I won't do this because it'll blow out the mic, but I would be like, defense, move up. And I mostly just, like, got to scream at people, and then I got to, like, play chicken with midfielders, and we would just, like, and like, I'll tell you, I don't flinch.
No,
but that's because I'm Polish.
That's why?
I think so.
Okay.
Polish people are crazy. Have you hung out with them?
Not much. I try to avoid them.
Why?
I'm just kidding.
What? Oh, you mean because of, like, the Holocaust?
I didn't mean that, but that is a good reason. The Poles did not treat my ancestors well.
Yeah.
They didn't flinch.
Wow, I didn't think we'd get into Holocaust jokes so soon. Because really what we're here to talk about is this article of yours, which I read the article when you first came out. It's it's called, I'm pulling it up right now, How Women Are Leaving the New Right. How MAGA Women.
Something like that, yeah.
Something like that. I read that article and I got like really mad, which is like my want.
That's good.
And then I emailed you and I was like, I think that you should come on my show.
That's
got all
good.
worked up about it.
Don't keep the
no, but then
anger up.
But then I reread it and I was like, this is so reasonable, which would demonstrate the fickle female character right there. You don't need to comment on that. But I did feel like then I came away and I was like, oh, that's mad reasonable. But
I tried to be reasonable.
We're all trying to be reasonable. And I think what the problem is with the new right, but which is also the problem with the internet, is that the people who are the most preposterous and unreasonable win out.
Yeah, both sides. But one thing that I think is interesting that I realized from doing this article is that it went very viral. But I was like, I mean, I write pieces for New York Magazine all the time. And they get like a little bit of attention. This one got a ton of attention. And I realized that, I mean, obviously the topic is interesting for people, but I did realize that one of the reasons is that the right wing really controls Twitter now. They just like turned up, Musk like turned up the right wing dial. And that means that if right wingers are reading something and sharing it, it goes viral. Whereas like 5 years ago, it was all left wing content. And even though this is from a left wing perspective, from my perspective, this went mega viral because all the right wingers were sharing it. It's interesting. They run the internet.
So it wasn't,
run the internet.
I assumed it was like leftist with the, what's the German word? The Schnada, what's the word?
Schadenfreude. Yeah, we got it together.
These Germans. So complicated with their words. I assumed it was leftist people being like, see, and then they got what they deserved and they had to leave. You know what I mean?
I really did see some of that, which I found very distasteful for the most part. But most of the, I think on Twitter at least, and I'm not really on the other one.
The blue sky? Is that what you're
It's unbelievable. It's so lame. It's awful. It's really bad. I have an account, so I like share the podcast sometimes and stuff. But on Twitter, if right wingers are into something, they're reading it. I think that was where most of the.
And what did they say? What was their response?
Well, I mean, a lot of the sources for the piece and people who were named and people who weren't were right wingers, right wing women. So a lot of people, were like, "This is true. This is a real thing." But a lot of people were pissed about it too. Did anybody
did anybody get out the pitchforks and go after these ladies? Although many of them are anonymous in the article.
Yeah,
for safety.
Definitely they would have if this woman, one of the main characters, was named, and there were a lot of people trying to figure out who she was, and apparently she was being doxxed, like in the DMs. I actually kind of like was surprised in a way. I mean, we did take pretty considerable effort to make her not identifiable, which was a sort of negotiation because
between you and the paper, or between you and her?
Between me and her.
Okay.
But I was to give even the new right some credit, I was surprised that nobody just said, "I know who this is. It's this person," and then unleash the dogs. They didn't. Even people who I learned figured out who it was. So good for them. They're really moral.
Well, I mean, self-restraint, at least in self-preservation, needs to be exercised at some point.
I think that also some of them understood that there's a sort of contradiction where, like, they have really, valorized and sort of they appreciate anonymity. Like, there's so much on the right. There's so many right-wingers who are anonymous, and they've built up a big platform as anonymous, and because in particular, because the reason that they say that they do that is because like the woke pitchforks will come for them if they are not anonymous. And so
by which you means you'll get scolded in a dinner party? Like, is that what the woke pitchforks are?
You know, you remember like the peak era of like progressive woke politics where people were getting like fired from their jobs and stuff like that.
Right. Do you remember the chick who said like made that bad crack on Twitter about like going to Africa and getting AIDS?
Yeah, that was like she was like patient zero for cancellation.
I know. Can you imagine? You just say something dumb online and then you land and you don't have a job and everybody hates you.
It's really. I think that sticks in everybody's minds because it's like the scenario is so extreme. Mm-hmm. Like you say something like just pop it off.
It's like the Gaza of social communication on the internet. You don't have to agree or disagree with that.
That seems offensive. I don't know what it means, so I'm going to not
great. You can just
agree
leave
or
it there. You can leave it right there.
Yeah.
But I feel like we need to back up.
Sure.
Although I have so many things I want to talk about now, which is like, I don't know why, but did you, just like for 1 second,
talk about whatever you want to talk about.
So here's what I want, but like, did you see the new like article about how like everything was better in the 90s in the art scene? It was the cover story.
Oh, yeah.
I literally have, I was kind of like, yeah. Parties are better.
Yeah.
When there aren't phones and recording devices everywhere.
Yeah.
And you can just let your hair down.
And it was the New York Magazine art critic, right?
Yeah, Jerry Saltz. Talking
and it was
about
like pictures that he had taken, right?
Pictures and then descriptions, and then everyone's like going like, oh, isn't it fab, fab, fab? Which like, I lived here in the 90s.
How was it?
There were still carcasses hanging in the meatpacking district.
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like, does that make life better? I don't know.
But I think you're right. The main thing is the no phones.
Dude.
Yeah.
We live in a surveillance state. And like most of the time I can even fall into this like somnambulant thinking where I'm like, well, it's not like anybody's got like, what am I doing wrong? Nobody's going to get anything on me. Like, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But it's like, it does matter, totally. Man. Like it's kind of China over here,
even,
you know?
Yes. There's like social credit scores. Even when I started as a journalist, like, 12, 13 years ago, there was so much concern about surveillance. Like that was a big topic. Like Snowden was one of the first stories that I was like really like energized by as a writer, and that was just about the idea that like the internet companies were going to share our metadata with the company.
Just for those not technologically minded, what's metadata?
Well, it's meaning that it's not the content of communications. It's like when did you communicate with this person at what time, from where? Yeah. Who are you? Who are they? Yeah. And now it's like people just give up literally everything all the time.
But like the problem, like pre-AI, what did it really matter? Because there's like so much data, so much communication. Because like humans can't shut up. We can't stop talking. It's pathological. Definitely. Like, shut up. I mean, it's like...
We're both podcasters. So be careful.
But like I'm trying to not swear, but I have no vocabulary. Every Yahoo out there is just yapping all the time, which like it's almost like annihilated by the fact that there were so many people talking such a quantity. It didn't matter. But now it's like with AI, it's like literally to support the oil and gas industry, they're building the infrastructure to listen to every single thing and make it matter that you've ever said.
Yeah, that's true. It used to be that one of the stopgaps, the bulwarks against us being against like our surveillance of us having consequences is that they couldn't possibly analyze the quantity of information, and now with AI they can. You're right.
Because like it used to be an ocean of which a conversation was a drop, but now we've got like an Israeli like desalination plant or something, which is I don't know why I'm like grinding on these weird Israel Palestine analogy. I mean, I'm thinking about it a lot.
Yeah, me too.
I think about it all the time.
Yeah, me too. I think intelligence agencies used to have this complaint. There was a huge problem in the era of like signals intelligence in the early internet era. Was they were like, okay, we have all this data. It's amazing. We're going to be able to stop every terror attack, and we're going to be able to find every bad guy. But they were like, but we don't have enough analysts to analyze it. And now you have like Palantir using AI produced by whoever to find, it's really, it is a big change.
What's up
and this
with
is just what the listeners want to hear about, I'm sure.
Well, what's up with the sexual perversion of all these powerful people recently? Because I'm Palantir, Alex Karp,
yeah.
And
Peter Thiel.
Thiel's just like a meth gay. Do you know what I mean?
He is.
I'm like, I get it.
You got him. You clocked him.
Like, I've been to orgies in San Francisco in the 2010s. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm not. He's a known quantity. But like Alex Karp,
he's so weird.
Is he banging?
He doesn't seem like it.
I feel like he's. This is alleged because it's only in my mind. So I just want a full. Legal disclosure. This is from my brain, which is like, is he banging like dolls? Like he's kind of giving like sex doll, or even a pocket, if I may.
Totally.
Do you know what I mean? But that makes me think of the most perverse, the kind of least sexual but most perverse of all, which is Fuentes.
Yeah. You watch a lot of Fuentes content?
I occasionally, from a professional perspective, here's what I don't get. Why are all these dudes listening to a guy who's literally never gotten laid?
Yeah.
Remember how in Clueless, like, do you remember the insult that somebody says to Cher? Oh, you're a virgin.
Right.
Who can't drive.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I don't understand why anybody's taking advice, but I feel like I'm not doing a good job of. I want to back up a little bit and just talk about what your article's about.
Okay.
Because maybe not everybody reads New York Mag. It's my primary news source.
Good.
Because I've forsaken the New York Times, the New York war crimes, as it's otherwise known as in some circles.
Good.
Mostly just because they're so boring and trite. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, New York's fun. It's like a tabloid for politics.
For smart people. It's like a tabloid for people who want to be smart. You could maybe say that too.
Yeah, at least. Yeah.
But the article was about how basically all these women in like MAGA, the new right, are now leaving the movement because all of the what had been somewhat subterranean misogyny, it was maybe not that subterranean, has come to the surface, and now people are just like, oh, it's gone too far, and they're leaving in droves. Anecdotally, would you say in droves? What's your loose
the things that people told me, and the important thing about the people who are sort of the main subjects of the piece is that they were not just like women on the right. They were women on the right who were like engaged in discourses and anti-feminist discourses.
Public thought leaders.
Yeah. Okay. The impression I got, not just from them, but from other people I talked to, is that all the women in the new right are talking about this problem. Some people think it's not a big problem. Some people think it is. Some people are like, well, it's kind of a problem, but I'm more focused on this other stuff, so it's like, and I don't want to make it about me, but everybody knows that it's a problem.
Seems like hating half of the electorate, if you're engaged in electoral politics, would be a problem.
Yeah, you would think so, and it might. Obviously, this part of the context for this is that there's been more gender polarization between the two parties the past few years.
Can you define what you mean by that?
It means that more women are voting for Democrats and more men are voting for Republicans in higher numbers than it used to be. The gap is larger. And so there's, whether it's true or not, there's a sense on the right that their audience contains more disaffected, belligerent, or just aggrieved men than it used to. And I think another big thing is that, like, the political question is totally real, and I think we'll see, in the next few years how bad this goes. But for either side, because the Democrats are also worried about losing men, right? I mean, that's a big topic. But I would say the other thing to keep in mind is that it's not just political, or there's perverse incentives involved with, like, the people we're talking about who are like influencers and pundits, because they just need to have a big audience. They're not trying to win an election with their podcast, and so somebody like Fuentes is probably, pretty bad. It's pretty bad for Republicans to be associated with things that he says, but his goal is not to make sure that Republicans win the next round of midterms. Actually, he's telling his audience to vote for the Democrats because he's turned on Trump. Right. But the point being that, like, there's people who, this is one of the weird things about and I think this is especially true on the right now, where it's kind of like influencer-occupied government, and they've lost kind of the capacity to really police the boundaries of political discourse.
This just makes me think you just can't serve two masters.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So if you're going to like grow your influencing audience, you can't really also serve electoral politics.
Yeah.
But who cares? Because who cares about anything? Because nihilism is the coin of the realm,
Do you
right?
feel that way?
I care about a lot of things.
Yeah, but you feel like other people are embracing nihilism.
I mean, this is just what I hear everybody saying.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not happening in this apartment, on my street, in my neighborhood with my friends.
Yeah.
But I think it's more a function of the economy than of like people's deep moral turpitude. Would that be the correct word?
Yeah. I think partially what's going on, to give the nihilists or even the nihilist posers some credit, is that there is a sense that democratic politics, small d, doesn't really work very well. So like take, for example, the war in Gaza, where it seemed like everybody we knew and every sort of remotely moral person was outraged by it during the Biden administration, and nothing fucking happened, right? Nothing happened. Didn't stop. And I think those kinds of experiences happening over and over again make people think like, well, what kind of effect can we have on politics anyway? And so embracing some kind of posture of disinterest is a sort of self-protective thing.
You know what I've had to, because I'm prone to despair as an individual. I always have been. And despair, I've been reminded again and again, is a sin, Yeah. Well, and I'll just say, another definition of sin is just missing the mark, right? So it feels like this despair is like rich and, God, with the vocab, fecund.
Yeah.
It feels like through the degradation of sorrow, there is some sort of redemption, but the reality is that there is not.
Yeah.
And that despair is a forsaking of God, and it's not being able to serve two masters. I think what's interesting, and maybe, look, I'm not a big Charlie Kirk fan or anything, but like I do believe the man was attempting to serve one master, which was, in his estimation, the betterment of the United States of America. And I wouldn't give that to Nick Fuentes.
No, I think that's true. Although the interesting thing about them as sort of like, them as like foils to each other, is that, the last few years of Kirk's life, he was really dogged by Fuentes fans everywhere he went, and the Groypers, which is what Nick Fuentes fans call themselves, were basically calling him like a fake right-winger all the time. And you could see over the past few years that in an effort both to preserve his audience, but also to like maintain a kind of coalition for Republican politics, which was his goal, he moved way to the right on race and women, I think, too. And I think so Fuentes was having the intended effect on Kirk. And an interesting thing to bring up Israel again, because I guess we're going to do this. It's
never a bad time to talk about Israel.
Yeah. Is that I thought, I said this a bunch of times on the show before he died, which was that in watching him, you could see, because he was still basically pro-Israel, that was his politics. He in order to fend off the Groypers, or just basically the right, which was becoming increasingly anti-Israel and anti-Semitic often, his strategy was I'm going to go way more racist because I can't change this thing.
You can't change my position on Israel.
Yeah, no. For kind of, I think, prudential reasons more than probably. So
he was serving two masters, the masters of the Republican Party and Israel. I mean, I feel like I would be untruthful.
And his fandom, not just Republicans, his fandom, and Benjamin Netanyahu.
But it's like, I don't know, dude. Israel, I mean, I've been thinking a lot, and this is definitely not what I was trying to talk about. I feel like Israel has passed into this new realm where they've become like a suicide state.
Yeah.
Where
a murder-suicide state.
A murder, yes. But I guess, why did I think but they're like blind to the ability to see that they are killing themselves.
Yeah.
And like there's something
Yeah.
So
it's death
tragic.
drive.
The death drive is driving the politics in Israel to a way look, I don't know about history that much or anything, but I can't think of another nation so bent on its own destruction. I take it is
Nazi Germany.
Death
drive. I'm allowed to say that, by the way.
Anybody's
and anybody's allowed to say it. I'm
say
just
anything
saying.
On the show, but I guess at least they had some allies. Do you know what I mean?
That's true, but Israel has some very, very powerful allies.
But
this country, for example.
Yeah, but if the majority of the electorate on both sides, Democrats and Republicans, no longer support them, their inability to see their actual reality is astounding. And that's what Charlie Kirk was trying to say to them right before he died. It's you do not understand the position that you are in.
Well, unfortunately, I think in some ways Netanyahu at least does understand it, which is that he can see that in a couple generations we're not going to be able to do this stuff because we are going to. He can look at the polls as well as anybody else. He can see we've lost the Democrats, their electorate, and we're beginning to lose the Republicans. And as a result, his impulse right now is we need to get this done now.
But there is no done. That's what
I totally agree. I'm just saying I think that's what he thinks.
But that is such a misunderstanding of the situation. You cannot be how many Israelis are there? 10 million? It's a country the size of New Jersey in the middle of the Middle East with 10 million people with the cash maybe about to be turned off. Yeah. What do they think this is? It's not a video game. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's deranged.
I agree.
I want to say a prayer for Israel. I'm not going to say a prayer for Israel, but but
not
why
for
do
the
people...
Likud party, but for lots of people who just live there.
And then, then the question is complicity. We're not going to settle that now. But I had all these things that were kind of so basic that I wanted to talk to you about. I wanted to...
Whatever you want to
I wanted to bitch and moan about the left and women
feminism.
And... Yeah, man, which, sure, I'm sure in, 0.3 minutes I could get fired up about that. Because I do feel I don't know, something you were saying earlier, around the edges of the Republican discourse is all this, febrile, another word you used in your article that I've been, haunted by. I love that word. So fun.
Stuck in your head, that one.
It's just, zinging. But, there is the same version of all this on the left. It's just that it's so laughable. Nobody pays attention to it.
I think that's true. I also think... I think the left... this is also totally, lame and rote kind of point, but I do think it's true, and it relates to the thing I was saying about the internet earlier, and the kind of, how the right wing... people call this, right-wing wokeness. That the right... it's kind of... it's not a great term, but the right is kind of embracing these sort of boutique ideas about women, about race, about Jews, which are really... quite unpopular with the mainstream of American personality, and therefore but because they have a big platform in the form of the president and the people around him and Twitter and the social media companies, they are hurting themselves in a comparable way to which we might say that hardcore progressive feminism or racial justice politics half a decade ago had a bad effect on democratic politics.
Totally.
I don't think that's it's kind of a way to set. It's too pat, but I do think that's part of what's going on, and part of what that means is that the left side of it is just totally muted. This is a thing I found talking to right-wing women about. A lot of them were sort of attracted to the right because they were so upset about girl boss feminism and this kind of peak Gawker Jezebel version of feminism that seemed to them to be very false, very focused on career and success and girl power in a way that maybe they just didn't feel in their life, so it felt just weird and off. and a sort of like, and for them especially, they interpreted all that stuff as like being uninterested in the family and in child rearing and stuff like that, which they were very interested in. But a thing that was sort of surprised me as I was talking to them is that, like, especially those who were not like, I'm going to leave the right over this stuff,
right,
were like, I just don't think like girl boss feminism is enough. And I was sort of like, is girl boss feminism even still a working concern? Like, people aren't like that anymore. Or it's not popular.
No, it's not. I wouldn't say it's girl boss feminism. It's just
everybody I know is getting married and having kids.
Well, because you probably know wealthier white people, and that's who gets to do that.
But it's a lot of the conversation. We should talk about people who are not wealthy white people, but a lot of this conflict is a conflict amongst rival elites.
Sure.
Everybody is a professional managerial class laptop person who's having this debate, whether they're a right-wing anti-feminist.
Over here, we're artists in this household.
Yeah, we're bohemians.
And you can look at our tax returns because they'll prove it.
Yeah, it's a disaster. But you know what I mean.
I do know what you mean. I guess I don't think, like girl boss, I wrote something clever and fun, and of course I can't find it. But it's like, yeah, girl boss feminism, but it's not like just focused on women anymore. It's just like, if you, man or woman, if you can just get ahead, if you can just get success, if your audience is big enough, if you can get the MacArthur Genius Grant, maybe for a certain small, then like everything will be fine.
Yeah.
You don't have to worry about your soul or your karma.
That's still,
So I guess it's like, I don't think...
But that's across the political spectrum, right?
I do, which is why I think that the right's critique is like half correct, which is like, because Nick Fuentes has that line that like all women can be are like whores, mothers, and nuns.
Yeah.
And I'm like, as opposed to what? A general, a CEO, and a plumber. I was like, the spiritual breath of whore, mother, nun is I was like, Nick Fuentes is really putting men in a box. You know what I mean? He's keeping them small. Because like the territory you cover as a mother
or a nun,
as a mother who is deeply committed to God and has had, dare I say, whorish periods of my life. Actually, I was thinking of this thing a friend of mine said. She's like, you know what my grandmother told me? She said, being married to a man is the same as sex work. You just have one client your whole life.
Yeah.
And I was like,
that's bleak.
Dark.
Yeah.
I would not say that is not the opinion of this podcast or of me. But man, there's a lot of good, juicy stuff in there, which is like, I guess I should give you my bona fides, which is like, I was said career girl, although I'm an actress.
Yeah.
So, which I was just, even back in Chekhov's day, just barely a step up from whore. So I have that. I can really understand. And I was obsessed with my career. Which is, I think, the nature, of the entertainment industry. It's just like, and I was like, I gotta book there's regular, I just gotta, And thank God for heterosexual, do you know what I mean? Like, the gays don't have to deal with this. Like, sometimes you just get knocked up. Do you know what I mean? That's like the beauty. I also have this other friend who talked to me in California. He's like, God, I'm probably gonna get in trouble for this. He was like, the gays are all trying to talk about the crazy stuff they're doing. He's like, try having sex with somebody and the outcome is they could have a child. He's like, if you're looking for stakes in your sex life, the gay orgy isn't it. Although with AIDS, I'm gonna walk that all back. That was just, I really set myself up.
It's better now.
With PrEP, from what I hear, people are just, nobody even puts a wrapper on it anymore. Everyone's on doxycycline, and they're just having orgies all the time.
But you're saying if you want to really feel like this is high,
if
this
you
is
want to
really
have
dangerous what we're doing here,
then just have heterosexual sex without
that is a hot
birth control,
that's a hot
and then
take.
you'll be like, wow, I hope it was worth it. That's honestly, I was reading the Gooning article like 6 months too late. And I was just like, they gotta ban Gooning just because, like, not because it's necessarily even morally wrong, which it may be, but I don't know. I don't care. That's not like but I'm like, literally anything, it is missing the mark, maybe. It's like, if anything, it's just like, it's taking too many dicks out of the pool. Do you know what I mean? Like, just for the population to maintain, we gotta ban gooning so that there's like more sexual energy available. Because the women are over here.
Yeah.
They're desperate.
And all the men have ED.
And all the men are just like, ugh, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's a travesty. I'm anti-pornography.
Yeah.
Personally. I think it's wrong.
It does seem bad.
It's just like, there's two questions. There's like, is it itself bad, or is the effect it has on people bad? The effect it has on people, self-professed, seems to be bad. So let's just, what do they say? Trust women. Let's just say, like, let's trust gooners. You know what I mean? Like, they're saying it's not good. Why was I talking about this?
I don't know.
Prep.
You were talking about yourself, yeah.
That was a good setup. I think that this whole idea, I think that family is the way, not the only way. I do think serving God is among. I think family is, let's just say, like, probably 70% of the way for 70% of people, a way to have like a spiritually valuable life.
Yeah. It makes sense that it would be one of the solutions to the kind of emotional, psychic, and spiritual drift that is a consequence of the culture you're describing, which is one where you have all the choices in the world, and therefore, whatever you do, whatever you achieve, is completely up to you. You can be the most successful movie star, or you can be a loser, and whatever happens, that's on you. And your spiritual sustenance is going to be derived from success. And things like family, not only having family, but things that basically create constraints that make you feel moral and just like loving obligations to others, is every religion, you know, every wise person who you ever talk to is like, the important thing is to feel a sense of moral and spiritual obligation to another, right? And so a culture that like devalues burdens, that devalues obligation, that devalues interdependence is a dead, narrow and deadening culture. I of course agree with that.
And it's bereft.
I agree with if that's the right. If the right's the only people saying that, I don't think they are.
I think they're saying that for women. And what I would ask them is, like, I would say also for men, i.e. let's take a look at gooners. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Like, the men need to be saved too. In fact, I think the men need to be saved a little more.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And men, you know, we did a podcast about like the problem with men stuff. We read like the Richard Reeves book, and like we read some conservative books about manhood. And I came to the conclusion that my like definition of masculinity is from the Bob Dylan song. Which one is it? Oh my God. The Man in Me, where he says the first line is, the man in me will do nearly any task. That's it. To me, it's like serving somebody else and feeling useful for doing so. Men need that so badly. Oh my God,
that's why they love to build things. We always talk about that on the podcast.
Even errands, you send a boyfriend on an errand, you know, they'll say they don't like to do it, but like they're like, I have a purpose, I know what I'm doing.
Men, and that's the thing also about like all this right-wing stuff with all these crazies who, I'm just pretty sure that all the most virulent misogynists on the right, like,
are gay.
They're just gay. Like, it's okay. I do strongly believe that closet cases destroy the world.
Yeah.
Closet cases.
You're Catholic, are you?
I'm an Anglo-Catholic.
Okay.
So
but closet cases have caused some real problems.
So I am not a Roman Catholic. I want to be very clear, and I want to draw the line. But yes.
Yeah.
I always want to talk about priests. Priests need to have wives. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful idea, male celibacy. It is not reality.
Yeah.
IEC, Nick Fuentes. What was I talking about? I was talking about
men need to have tasks.
Men need tasks. And like they were, talking about how like women are hen pecking and all this stuff. And I was like, in what universe ever?
Yeah.
Like, they're trying to imagine a world where women aren't like the head of households. Like there's always like there's the symbolic head, there's the symbolic head of state.
Yeah.
And then there's like in many households. But this is all trite and boring and it doesn't matter because what I talk about here is like help meets, which is like both sides need each other or they will die in a pre-industrial society. Everybody's and I think the problem with left-wing feminism or liberal feminism, which I don't know if it intended this, is it gives the idea gives the idea that equality equals sameness, which anyone can see is not true. And once you have a kid, I remember, people would be like, "We're pregnant."
That's fair. It's pretty
and I would be like, after I had a baby, I was like, "We are not pregnant. I'm pregnant.
Yeah.
My body was on the line.
Yeah.
I lost years."
Yeah.
Do you know, like there was this one photo from when my older daughter was very little, where it's like, I'm nursing her, the cat's on top of me, and my then husband's also on top of me. And I think somebody took a photo of it to commemorate. Like, literally just everybody was on me all the time.
Yeah.
And I've said this before on the show, but there's this thing on TikTok I saw where this woman's like, everybody in this room has been inside me. And I've had that moment. Do you know what I mean?
Not the cat, I hope.
Not the cat. So... But like that's why when Nick Fuentes is like casting all these aspersions on women, I'm like, were you not born? Did you not pass through someone's canal? What were you like? Were you created? What is that? What Greek? Do you know what I mean? You didn't just come to being on some sea foam.
Yeah. Yeah. I know.
Your mother built you.
Yeah.
And he's not a Christian because he's like talking about how women make us care about the poor. I'm like, you know who made us care about the poor? Jesus. Jesus made us care about the poor.
I totally agree.
So I'm like, doesn't he talk about being a Catholic?
Yeah, he does all the time.
Yeah, these are all false. I mean, it's just like, let's just be clear. These are just false prophets. And they're doing the same things that false prophets have always done, which is they talk. And they needle their way in. Last week I was talking about Satan because I had kind of like I had an exchange with somebody who was giving satanic for sure. But what they're like, if you just find somebody else and you put them down, then you'll get what you deserve. Yeah. Woo! Anyway, so I think we should take a short break before we get further into eschatology, which is like my most favorite subject.
Good.
So again, this is Sam Adler-Bell, who in my mind I've been calling you Sam Bankman-Fried, which is just so unfair.
People say that.
It's just, I have a triplet name too, Francesca, Ruth, Dodson. It's that they're just uncommon.
Yeah, okay.
So it's not personal.
I hope not.
It's not personal. But if you want to hear the second half of this episode, you can go to patreon.com/criticalbabetheory, and we will be right back. Thank you.